Welcome to another Baby Theater. Today, we're going to be talking about Beauty and the Beast. Yes, that's true. That's true. Beauty and the Beast. Now, here's the thing. So, Beauty and the Beast, Belle was a part of this small town, you know. She would go and read books every day at the library. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff, you know. Just kind of chilling overall. Pretty chill town, you know, but there was this guy named Gaston, right? And Gaston, well, you know, he always ate 5 dozen eggs in a day. And, you know, I mean, you know what that does to, like, a small population town? I mean, it really, like, messes them up. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't do a very good job of, grabbing enough eggs for everybody, you know? So, so this town's kind of like, you know, running out of eggs. This Gaston guy, he's eating them all. And you see, what they had to do is they actually had to go up this big mountain, the townsfolk, and they actually were able to find this dragon's den, right? And dragons, they're pretty big, but they do lay giant eggs, right? And so I know one particular townsfolk named Gary, right? He was like, man, like if I can get a couple of those dragon eggs, maybe, you know, we can actually feed Gaston like a couple eggs a day instead of like, you know, 5 dozen. You know, is ruining the population of egg farmers. So, you know, and he barely even pays for him because, I mean, he's Gaston. I mean, why would he pay? You know, he's the Gaston. And so, you know, Gary, he goes into this dragon's den, right? He's like looking for the eggs. Well, instead he finds, you know, a bunch of gold. And he's like, oh, this is pretty sick. All this gold's here. But the thing about it was he entered the wrong cave, and that was actually a goblin cave. And one of the goblins came out and was like, what are you doing, bro? That's my hoard right there. It's a bunch of gold, and yeah, you want to buy something? You know, and they were like, and he's like, well, what do you have to sell? And he's like, well, I've got a few wares, you know. And he's like, you got any gold on you? You know? And Gary was like, no. He really had like 20 pieces of gold on him. But he didn't want the goblin to know that because, you know, I mean, how did he get all this gold to begin with? Maybe he had some good stuff. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just stole everybody's gold. I mean, who knows? It's hard to say. And he was like, well, I wish you would have had some gold on you because you could have bought this. And he showed him, and it was, guess what it was? It was an egg duplicator. You could duplicate eggs within like moments. And, you know, you can get like 5-10 eggs out of one egg. I mean, you know, it'd be amazing, right? And, you know, so Gary was like, oh, well, I don't know about that. Why would I? Maybe I should kind of consult my team. Maybe I can find some gold, you know? And so he was kind of like, oh, yeah, we found some gold, man. You maybe want to give me that egg duplicator. And they're like, how much gold you got? He's like, well, we found about, how much gold is it? You know, maybe if you tell me how much gold it is, I can tell you how much gold I have, and then we can go from there. And he's like, no, you have to tell me how much gold you have. And he said, well, okay, 20 gold coins. And all of a sudden, the goblin goes, nah, stick him up. He has this blade, and he's like ready to get him, you know. And, oh, no, take my gold, don't kill me. And you know what the goblin did? The goblin was like, yeah, and stabbed him 15 times. I mean, that was the end of Gary. And then the population of egg farmers got even smaller. So now Gaston's eating even more eggs than they can handle. You know, he says, give me my 5 dozen eggs. They don't even have 5 dozen eggs. So the other farmers, they finally find the right cave, they think. And they're like, oh man, is this the cave? And then all of a sudden, they find a bunch of gadgets in there, and like a bunch of little old technology, and like VHS tapes and stuff like that. Mostly VHS tapes, mostly. And a couple were like really old really rare VHSs, and they were like, "Oh man, maybe we can sell these on eBay and get some profit," and it's pretty cool. Let's see if we can. And before they knew it, all of a sudden, a gnome comes out, and they're like, "Oh, hi! I didn't know you lived here." And the gnome was like, "What you doing in my wares? What you doing in my wares?" And they're like, "Well, we're browsing. We're browsing. Maybe you wanna sell it to us for some easy copper." And the gnome's like, "We know how much this is worth. Obviously, we're techno wizards, duh." And you know what? It was the wrong cave again. And then all of a sudden, this other farmer, his name was Terry, and so you got Gary and Terry. Gary's dead now though, but Terry's there, and Terry was like, "Well, I'm really sorry to bother you. Then I'm gonna get out of here before you knife me." And then Gnome's like, "Well, I would never knife you. That's crazy. I'm like really good. I'm like a good race. No problem." And then this Hextech mecha warrior comes in, and by sheer accident, just steps right on his head, crushes him immediately. I mean, it's a really tragic accident, actually. It's pretty sad. And, his brains go everywhere. It's crazy, Well, what happens? That happens sometimes. Well, then there were even less egg farmers. Good luck. How are they going to make, 5 dozen eggs for Gaston if, there's many egg farmers. No egg farmers left. Well, then Jerry comes along, right? You got Gary, Terry, and now Jerry, and Jerry was like, "Oh gosh, we gotta find this dragon cave. There's only a few of us left, and we really need to find this dragon cave." And like, we keep dropping left and right, and and Gary and Terry, they're both dead. Why are they dead? I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And we don't have any copper left. We don't have any gold left. It just goes to say that the copper was stored in Terry's hat. He just had it in his hat, and obviously it just got crushed under the weight of the mecha. So it's sad. It's real sad, and it's just kind of crazy. It's like all their gold and all their copper, and then Jerry was like, "Well, I got a little bit of silver though. I got a little bit of silver, so we can try. The next place. Maybe we can bribe the dragon with some silver." They go to the next one. And then it's a bunch of flowers and vines, and as they travel deeper, and it's like a little garden almost, It's like a little garden, And all of a sudden, they see a fairy, and the fairy's like, "Hello." Fake propaganda, Hey, give me that silver. I can give you what you're looking for. And they're like, "What do you think we're looking for?" "Oh, eggs, of course, eggs, give me all your silver for eggs." And so they go, No, don't let me touch it, just put it on the ground over there. Put it on the ground. And then, yeah, I'll give you everything you need, all the eggs in the world, 500 eggs, 500 dozen eggs, how about that, 500 dozen eggs, just for some silver, you can put on the ground. Might as well you can pick it up after. Might as well, just put it on the ground now. Well, next thing you know, he goes, "Well, I guess, seems legit. He puts all the silver on the ground. All of a sudden, the face on him. He, like, chomps off his face. And it's Jerry. I mean, Jerry's face is chomped off, Terry's head gets crushed in. And then you got Gary over there, he got stabbed a bunch of times. So now, I mean, who's left? Oh yeah, Larry. Larry's left. And so Larry's like, "Oh, we gotta find this dragon cave. We gotta find this dragon cave, guys. Wait, I'm the only egg herder left. What's going on?" So they go in and they say, "Oh, what's gonna happen? He goes into the cave, and he's like, "Oh man, what's gonna go down in this cave? What's gonna go down in this dragon cave? And then Larry goes in and he says, oh, okay, I think this is the cave. And there are eggs everywhere, eggs all over the place, eggs like for days. And I mean, it's crazy how many eggs are here. Like it's like 5,000, 6,000 eggs that they see. And they walk in. Guess who's there? You think the dragon? No, it's Gaston. Gaston's like, oh, I got all the eggs. It's me. What are you doing here in my egg cave? And they're like, oh, well, we're looking for eggs to feed you, Gaston. And you're like, get out of my egg cave, get out. And he says, well, Gaston, I'm the only egg farmer left in the village. What are you gonna do? You gotta rely on me to get you eggs. Like, you're not gonna hurt me, are you? And he's like, nobody kicks people's faces off with like Gaston. And he kicks them, and he goes flying like leagues off. Gaston. He's kind of badass, and he just like kicks him so far and so hard that he ended up on My Little Pony. Like it wasn't even the right TV show. It was crazy. Like, Rainbow Dash was there and crap. Twilight Sparkle. It was like, how is that possible? Why? Gaston, what's Gaston going to do? So Gaston, guess what he does? He walks next door and he's like, hey neighbor, perchance you may have a dragon egg I could borrow. And the dragon's like, of course, Gaston, anything for you. You're the best in the world. So the whole time, all these egg farmers are looking for eggs for Gaston, and Gaston's neighbor's the dragon. He just borrows his eggs all the time. It doesn't matter. So these 5 dozen eggs, they don't even care. Gaston's like, I just collect eggs. He's an egg collector. So the moral of the story is, don't mess with Gaston. That's the moral of the story. Oh, then, after all that, Gaston went and saved the day. Like, took out this beast that was tormenting the village. So, good stuff.